Hey, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today on the all-new J-Mac News Show. If you're new to the program, we start out every day with the attack.
This is the J-Mac News Attack.
What is the J-Mac News Attack? Well, I have been challenged, if you will, by the powers that be to give you 5 points or opinions in 5 minutes about an important news story of the day. Today, I'm quite concerned and frustrated with the ATV accident in Riverton. This is the one that involved a 13-year-old driver who had 3 other children on the ATV. All of them, I think, around the age of 10 years old.
Takeaway number 5.
My first point about this ATV accident involving teenagers, young teenagers on the streets. This was not a rural area. This is a suburb with lots of houses, lots of cars. You know, I understand in certain outlying areas, farmland, those types of things. But on city streets, it's just simply not acceptable. And according to Unified Police Department Lieutenant Lex Bell, it happens a lot.
It happens all over Salt Lake County, really, in every area that I've ever worked. But it is a bigger problem in Riverton and Harriman, the south end of the valley, where there's more open fields, more farmland, more four-wheel being actively ridden.
Yeah, but these guys were not on farmland. They were riding up and down the street.
Number 4.
Unified Police Department Lex Bell also says, you know what? This thing wasn't made for the way that they were using it.
We've got 13-year-olds driving it with 3 10-year-old girls sitting on this 1986 Honda, which is way too small for that.
Did you hear that? A 13-year-old driver, 3 10-year-old girls. I'll say it again. A 13-year-old driver, 3 10-year-old girls driving up and down the streets for some time. Now, thank goodness they were all wearing helmets. But honestly, is there anything acceptable about this situation? Anything that says to you, yeah, this is okay?
Takeaway number 3.
My third point about this ATV accident involving a 13-year-old driver and 3 10-year-olds on an ATV made for, at the most, 2 people. You know what? I see it in my neighborhood in Lehigh all the time. The kids rarely have helmets on. They are flying up and down the street, and I live on a street where there is plenty of traffic going above the speed limit. And I wonder every day when we're going to see a car versus ATV with a child incident. Something has got to change here.
Number 2.
My third point, or my number 2 point, excuse me, about these kids, this 13-year-old on the ATV in Riverton who collided with a car while driving around 3 other 10-year-olds. This is the exact reason these are not allowed on public roads. We see enough injuries and deaths from ATVs when they're off-road. Combine that with paved roads, vehicular traffic. This is a deadly combination. These parents and children are incredibly lucky that they are alive today. Not to mention the emotional trauma that the driver of the car must be going through knowing that they collided with a bunch of children. I don't want to put any adult through that.
But had we gotten a call an hour before, hey, we've got an illegal four-wheeler being ridden in the neighborhood by kids, maybe we prevented this from happening.
Again, that's Lex Bell, and I think it really speaks to the point that maybe somebody else in the neighborhood should have said something. Or do we all just think that this is okay?
And J-Mac News Attack. Takeaway number 1.
Here is the big question of the day. Lieutenant Lex Bell with the Unified Police says the parents may be held criminally liable.
Talk to the parents, see, what the circumstances were. Does the 13-year-old have permission? Is this something that's commonly happening?
My point, listen, while I hate the idea of legislating parenting, you know I hate it. You know I hate it. It is painfully obvious that some parents simply have a blatant disregard for the safety of their children. And children cannot be allowed to make these choices on their own. If not criminal charges, please tell me what is the answer to how to deal with parents who are willing to let their children risk their own lives in the name of a little bit of fun, because that's what this was about, a little bit of fun. at very, very high risk. We'll be talking with Lieutenant Lex Bell a little bit later on in the program and seeking to educate people on the dangers about this occurrence. But coming up, J.K. Rowling of Harry Potter fame in the news for her commentary about Donald Trump.
The JMAC News Attack.
Traffic and weather together.